and welcome to another episode of Schiffbauer Rocks. Today I have friend, professional colleague, and guest, Kristen Pucci of KRAE Consulting.
Hi, Paul. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. So I appreciate you coming down to York and recording at Casta Cigars with us. Tell everybody out there what you do. I know we do a little bit of the same thing in terms of marketing, but you're a little more specialized than me in other areas.
Sure. Yeah. So I own KRAE Consulting. It is a social media marketing and consulting firm. And I started it 3 years ago. I was laid off in the pandemic, right in the beginning of the pandemic, without knowing it was the pandemic yet.
Yeah, that was like the early days where it's like, oh yeah, we're just cutting back.
It was no. It was like the day that they were like, oh, this is only going to be so fun. Everyone go home. The liquor stores are closing at 3. It was like that day.
Yeah,
and
like,
everyone's
okay,
like,
cool.
all right, this is great.
I might be out for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. And then I get laid off, like all the other BD people get laid off. And I was like, what the heck am I going to do now? What do I want to do? And I started a company. And fast forward, we have 6 employees now. We're based out of Mechanicsburg. Everybody is remote, so that's a really fun fact about us.
That's plus.
Yeah, is we're all remote.
And everyone's local.
Yeah, everybody's
Okay.
local and everybody is remote. I have subcontractors and stuff I'll use in other areas.
But primarily all around here.
Yeah. And our biggest service is social media marketing. I love LinkedIn. That's been my spot. That's where I hang out. And we'll run people's pages for them. So all of their company pages, even CEOs' personal pages, I ghostwrite for them as well.
Okay, I did not know that.
Yeah, which is super cool. So I will sign in as Paul and post Paul's content because Paul doesn't have time to write his own content and post his own content.
Yeah, I don't post on LinkedIn at all.
Correct.
I'm a Facebook guy.
Yeah, and you want someone who's really professional and a CEO that understands a CEO's brain.
Especially from that perspective with the kind of companies you serve.
Correct. Yeah. So we started in the construction industry, and we offer marketing, like I said, websites. We don't do the stuff that you guys do. I think that's why we're friends still. But we don't compete. Okay. I'm kidding. But we also do consulting, so business consulting. I have a background in recruiting and HR, as well as sales. I obviously own a company, so I know how to consult people on how to own companies. We recruit. And then I also have something that's not really under KRAE, but I do work for a celebrity. So I'm her manager.
Tell a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So her name is Ray Ripple. She's super cool. She's out of Texas. And her name's Ray, and my company's name's KRAE. And it's very... I don't know. It's funny that we got connected, but she is one of the top welding metal artists in the entire world.
That's like super niche in itself.
Super niche. Yeah. And the fact that she found me from Texas is she claims that somebody years ago told her about me and was like, you're looking for someone to run your brand. And at that time, she didn't have a logo or a website or anything.
Anything at all.
Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. And she was going to be in a television series, which is on Netflix. Metal Shop Masters. Go check it out.
Okay, so it's out now.
It is. Oh, yeah, it's out.
Okay.
Yeah. It's super cool. It's a good show. And she also is an author. She's a stunt rider. She works with Harley. We have a lot of really great connections with like Lincoln Electric, Hypotherm. Dickies is a new one. And she
now, are you like
metal art.
helping with like the guidance or like helping brokering those relationships?
Correct. Yeah. So I will book her for appearances, and I also get her connected to other people that I think she should be working with. Pretty much everything and anything. She says I pretty much run her life, which in a good way, I guess, is true. But yeah, I keep her coordinated. She's the talent. She's the celebrity. And I'd say I'm like the behind the scenes magician that's making things, organized so she can stay focused on the art and I can stay focused on the business and creating, the money and everything like that.
It's really fascinating arrangement and opportunity, Kristen. I've had like little opportunities, not to that scale, come up where it's just like, it's not in like our core stack or like our core services, but like
you could do it.
We can do it, or should we do it? To me, like outside looking in, that's something where like if I were in your shoes, like okay, we don't normally do this, we don't normally offer this, but like fuck it, why not?
Well, that's literally exactly what I did. It was funny because I have 2 phones.
Okay, Kevin Gates.
I have 2 phones. No, and because I have a New Hampshire number. So I have a 603 area code. So when I'm doing business in Pennsylvania, obviously I wanted to have a 717, except I rarely use it.
People around here are really weird about that though.
Yeah.
Like I've gotten because I have a 410 number.
Yeah.
My family's originally from Maryland. People are like, oh, I thought you were from Baltimore.
Yeah, they won't pick it up. They'll think it's spam or
then
something.
like I'll leave a voicemail or like a text follow-up.
Correct. So I got a second phone for my business because I was convinced I needed a 717 number. And so I had this phone, but something was messed up with it that like it wouldn't take any calls or voicemails.
Yeah.
So I didn't get the call from Ray till like 4 days later. And I was like, oh shit. I was like,
And this
I
was
just
already when
missed
you were
out
working
on,
with her,
no,
or
I
just-
never, this is our
okay.
first
Oh,
interaction.
that's even worse
I'm
then.
like, oh fuck. I'm like, I was like, is this real? This celebrity just called me and I'm like 4 days calling her back, which is so not like me. Like I'm the type of person that if I don't text back immediately, like find her.
At least acknowledge it.
Find
Yeah.
her because she's probably dead in a ditch somewhere. That's why I'm not texting back. And so I called her and I was like, Ray, I don't know who the hell you are. Got your voicemail. So sorry. My phone is so messed up. She's like, it's all good. Nobody called me back. And I'm like, okay, all right. I was like, that sounds good. And I'm like, is this girl like not for real? And we just kind of were talking about it. And she's like, I just need somebody to run my brand. And I love it. It's a small part of my business just in regards to the grand scheme of all the things that we do. But I love it. I'm trying to grow that side. I think just management, being a CEO or being an artist or being a whatever, like there's so many like balls that you have to juggle and you start dropping them. Like I'm young and I'm not married and I don't have kids and I'm even dropping balls
I'm the
in
same
my
way.
own, you know what I mean?
No,
Like
I
I'm
can
even
relate to
dropping
that.
balls in my own life. So I can't even imagine people that have children and people that have this and that and whatever. And it's like, you need somebody to help just keep you on track.
That's where I feel like, not to
Yeah.
change it up,
Go
but
for it.
change up folks who are in super like hyper growth mode, but have like kids and like a husband and wife. I'm like, you're lying to yourself to an extent unless you have like your processes down like that.
Or you
and
just
have a team supporting
outsource
you.
everything.
Correct.
Like, because I have to outsource everything just to even do what I do now. Like, I don't clean my house. I barely do laundry. Like, sometimes or I'll like take care of it elsewhere. But like, I don't mow my lawn. My dogs poop. Like, I got a 60-pound German Shepherd. Like, she poops a lot.
That's a lot
and
of
like,
poop.
but exactly. So it's like, how much time would I spend out there?
It's a loss
Picking
leader.
up her exactly. So I'm like, if I could pay somebody else, stimulate the economy, give somebody else a job, and they
One pile of shit at a
yeah,
time.
exactly. Poop genie. That's literally what it's called.
That's a great name.
I know. Aren't they so cute? Poop Genie. And they come and they pick up your dog's poop and whatever. And it's like they're the sweetest little family that owns it. And I'm like,
I like that. It's like
you will
genie,
appreciate
like it's gone.
Exactly. Like it just poof, make a wish and it'll be gone. But yeah, so I don't know how we got on that topic. But yeah, Ray's super cool. I definitely want to grow that side of the business. I love doing that. And I love grabbing. She was somebody who was up and coming.
Yeah, it was like it made sense for you and her.
Correct.
The relationship at the time.
It did, and it still does. And I think our relationship is ever changing because now we're obviously like literally best friends as well as business partners. And I just think as I grow that side of the business, those are going to be the type of people I want to grab is the ones that like just need a shot. Like they need somebody that just knows they're like, hey, I'm really talented. I have all these great skills, but I don't know how to get to the next level.
I'm doing this XYZ already, but like I don't know how to get to the ceiling.
And I'm like, no problem. So I can kind of be like the mama bird that like I want to get them out of the nest. Like I know that I'll get Ray to a point eventually that she'll be bigger than just me, and that's
least
a
you
good
know
thing.
that.
But that's a good thing. Like I want her to get that big, and
from like a vertical standpoint.
correct. And then I know eventually, she's going to be a household name, and she's going to be all these things. Like I'll still be involved. It'll just be a different role because.
She can go to all these trade shows or
Correct.
bigger like
yeah,
home
appearance.
shows.
Yeah, she does huge. I mean, she's in Los Angeles right now shooting a television commercial with Harley. So like
That's so cool.
stuff we were dreaming about 2.5 years ago. So
Yeah.
it's very cool. Yeah.
You touched on a good point with her. It's just like you started this professional relationship and it became personal. How do you, because this is something I'm constantly juggling, juggle personal versus business and vice versa. Because
Sure.
I really feel like business is personal to an extent.
Sure. Yeah. So I'll answer this a couple ways. I have, because I work in construction. That was something that I didn't mention. Like that's where my
core,
company got
otherwise.
started was in construction. We've expanded since. We're in medical and real estate and development stuff. I feel like because and this might be my own thing, but I also feel like it was smart in my business, is I work for a lot of men. And I work for a lot of married men. And I work for a lot of just men in general. And all the ladies that are listening to this know exactly what I'm talking about. But you have to be very careful with how you interact
With men.
and with men, because like I am very specific that I am not going out to dinner with my clients one-on-one. I am not going to a happy hour one-on-one with my clients, and I'm not.
And it should be that way.
Yeah, and it should be that way because I feel like I am not a wife yet, but I will be a wife one day, and I would hope that like I think that's good karma. Like I want to be friends with my boss's wife. I don't want my boss's, or not my boss's wife, my clients' wives. Like I want to be friends with them. I don't want them to be like, oh, who's that, young marketing girl that only calls you and I can't talk to her. You know what I mean? Like it could be weird.
Even if it's not like that, the perception of that
Exactly.
can be brought up.
Because I'm a female, I get it. Like
and it's on the other side of the fence for men too.
Yeah, so like I really try to make sure, and I know that I can't control everything, but I really try to make sure that I am very professional. Now I'll go to lunch all day. I'll do anything anything from, you know, the work hours, like I'll go out to lunch.
Normal hours.
Yeah, normal work hours. I'll do stuff like that. Or I'll do, like, for example, one of my clients, me and my boyfriend and him and his wife were all going out to dinner. So that's something like I will do that. There's nothing threatening there. Like, that's totally fine. So I'd say just making sure that I'm like with the men in good, you know, but I can be friends with them and I'll go clay shooting. You guys see that all the time. I'm always clay shooting and golfing or whatever, but I try to really be specific about that. And
some people I would imagine respect and some people probably haven't.
Absolutely.
Now, how do you handle like something like that when it comes up where like they're getting too personal?
It depends. I've struggled with this in the past.
Yeah, no,
I've struggled with this in the past because, for example, like there's been clients that you make a lot of money from them. You make a lot of money from them and they give you a pass or they do whatever. And you're like, do I speak up and lose this client or do I say nothing and it gets worse?
And it creates precedent.
And it creates it creates a precedent and creates a problem. So I'd say that's ever changing, but I think you get to a certain place as like, whether or not it's in your career or just as a person in general, you get to a certain place of self-worth and confidence that you're like, I don't need this guy. If that's how this guy is, he knows other guys like that, and I don't want to be involved
No, and
in
that's
that.
kudos to you.
Yeah, and I have a
That's
lot of.
awesome.
I would say every single client that I have right now, I can't always say that though. Like ever since I started KRAE in the beginning, so when you're first starting out as a business owner, like you'll take as much business as you can.
Yeah,
and your screening isn't as thorough as it would be now.
And it's an experience thing too.
Correct.
It's
and
just
it's
like you're giving
experience, you
people the
learn.
benefit of the
It's
doubt.
interviewing. You're interviewing clients. Like you interview with dating or you interview with, you know, people to come work for you. Like you figure out what's a good client for you. And I have not always had good clients. And now I would say where I'm at, I have a really good set of clients. Every single client I have, I know respects me. None of them have ever made me feel uncomfortable. And I think I'm just getting much better as I'm growing about being confident in the fact that like, hey, if that's somebody like that,
We don't need your money.
we don't
do
need your
business
money.
with
We don't need your dirty money. And I don't need it that bad. So, but yeah, that's a great question. But the ladies though, I am a girl's girl
It's okay.
through and through.
That's
like
why I'm a guy's guy.
Yeah, like I love women in business, and I was at lunch with one of my girlfriends that owns another company, and I'm like, talk to this guy. Like, I want you to do this, and I'm like, hey, I'll help you here, and I know you can't afford it yet, but like, I'll help you with this, and then when you get there. Like you being on stage and like walking across the stage and like accepting an award, and I'm gonna be in the crowd like the super mom.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna be in the crowd just cheering her on. I'm like, that's my payment. Like that's I love that. So I
fulfillment
love
aspect
the
of
women's
it.
in business. I try to become as close with the girls as I can, but there are a lot of catty, bitchy women, truthfully too.
Yeah, there are. In men too.
There's a lot,
It's
and
on
I
both
think
sides of the fence.
Well, I'm sure, and I've never been a guy, so I don't know. But like,
They're really
just-
passive aggressive typically.
Guys are
And then that's when I had to get like flip the table on them.
really.
Yeah, it's like it's really
what is
like
her name? Teresa Judice. Yeah. She flipped. Isn't that who that is from? What's her call? I think it's Teresa Judice. Yes. She flips the table.
I think in general it's just like beating around the bush. It's just like
they're not very direct.
yeah, it's just I think it's the reason is because they buy into you as a consultant. It's like a different level of expectation. It's just
Sure.
like they don't want to like either disappoint me and my team,
Sure.
or it's just like all right, we already had like this like relationship and understanding. It's like
Yeah.
oh well, this is what's going on, or something else is going on unrelated. Like
and they won't address it.
yeah,
directly.
tell me what's up.
That's frustrating.
No, it's
Well,
what's
guys,
up?
I think just naturally have like guys don't want to rub other people. Guys are like so worried about being like someone being mad at them. Guys hate confrontation.
Oh, they do.
Like they just guys,
That-
and that's just how they are, and that's wonderful because women are like,
No,
knock
yeah,
you out.
no,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
At least most are. You know what I mean? Well, I am. I
They'll
guess.
tell
I'm
you
like,
if they have a problem.
yeah, exactly. Like women, I think are just more okay with communicating their feelings and communicating, and like guys just haven't unfortunately been able to kind of like catch up to that, and I think that's probably where some of that comes from. But yeah, there's some nasty women. There are for sure, and I think like
There's one in particular. I'm not going to name drop.
oh.
Yeah.
One woman?
Well, one in particular that I have to deal with in our space.
I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know who we.
I actually dealing with her right now with
Oh,
a shared
no.
client. It's okay.
Oh no. But yeah, I just think like there's so much business out there for everybody.
It's an
and-
abundance. It's just
yeah.
like why there's no reason to be catty.
No, there's no reason to be catty, and it's just like I think you can. It's all karma. To me, it's all karma. Like I will always try. If somebody burns me, obviously I'm not just gonna be like a wet noodle or a doormat and just roll over and be like, okay, you know, it's fine. But I think you need to have enough confidence in yourself so people don't fuck with you.
Yeah.
And
Entrepreneurial karma
Caramel apple
is
as
a
an entrepreneur.
very real thing.
oh sure,
Like people just you're gonna get bit in the ass if you're
Yeah.
just gonna treat people unfairly.
For sure.
Or
And like
unethically.
there's been times like specifically with I've had clients that like they won't pay me like my last check just because like I literally have an email from a guy that it literally just because he doesn't feel like it. He just doesn't feel like paying his last bill. And I'm like,
Sister,
it doesn't work like that.
Now
like,
you gotta I've learned trial by error.
Yeah.
If you're not a residual client, let's say it's like a one-off project.
Yeah.
Now I require, okay, the project's 60 days. Here's the expectations for us and you.
Yeah.
If the project's delayed on your part, we're getting a down payment.
Yeah.
And if the project's not done at 60 days, we're still getting paid in full for it.
Yeah. Well, this is what he did. He can't. So I have a 30-day termination because there's a lot that you have to like offboard, right?
Yeah, no, typically we do
We've got
too.
thousands of photos. We have
Like we could do it in a flash in some instances, but like you got to give us notice.
Exactly. You have to give it a notice. He didn't. He like waited till the exact day that it went. And then he goes, I don't need to pay you this last 30 days
Yeah, and
because I need proof that you still have stuff.
And you think it's justifiable not to pay you.
Yeah. And I'm like, dude, is this how you do business? So like, that's how I responded in an email that I said, hey, like totally, I don't even remember what I said, but along the lines of like, this is a bigger issue all in itself that like, this is how you do business and you think this is okay. Like,
Good for you for saying that.
and that's
you
what I
worded
said.
it very professionally.
Yeah, and I word it in a professional way. Like I've never yelled at anybody, screamed at them or whatever. But like I say I'm very good at a professional fuck you. And I think that's what that was, is like, I caught you. I see what you did. By the way, your
Don't
business,
fucking do it again.
Yeah, like your business, clearly, if this is how you do business, like that to me is the karma.
And
It's
you
like,
obviously need the money more than I do.
well, yeah, but it's like if that's how you're gonna run your business, I'm already ahead. So like keep
okay.
the $3,000. Keep the $3,000
It's
and
nothing.
but then what happens next is I sign another client that's even bigger or somebody else that's better.
Yep.
And like now I've weeded out.
It's the opportunity cost where you get rid of somebody who shouldn't be there in the first place.
Correct. So it happens, but you get used to it and you get better at managing it. So
Now, you talked about screening and like you've been doing this a few years,
yeah.
like right around the tail or the kickoff of the pandemic, essentially.
Sure.
So I kind of evaluate clients. You have A, B, C clients, and over time,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they scale in terms
Sure.
of like how you're growing internally and what your goals are might be for your particular business, and
Mm-hmm.
vice versa, where the relationship might change.
Yeah.
Do you do something like that?
Do I rate my? What are you asking? Do I rate my clients?
Rate them,
or-
even if it's not like a formal. It's just like, yeah, things have changed with this client. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
maybe we need to change scope, or I need to think about them a different way than I did at the onset.
Yeah, I mean, I had different services that I offered in the beginning of KRAE that I outgrew. And
Yeah, no, same.
I just stopped doing them and I kind of phased those clients out. And one was recently like back in the winter of last year. And I said, hey, like, it's not that it's like below me anymore, but I outgrew it. I'm like, and I understand that you're probably not happy with the services. I'm not happy doing them anymore. So I think let's
part ways.
Yeah, let's give it like 2 months because
Or
I
just-
still can
yeah.
do them, but let's give it 2 months and let's just, but I think you just need to have those conversations. But yeah, I absolutely have my clients rated A, B, C. And then I also would argue that I have like strategic clients too. Like
Okay.
I have clients that I do things for free or I barter. I do a lot of bartering. I think
Kudos
I
to
learned,
you.
yeah, I think I learned how to negotiate just from being like Italian. I don't know. There's something about like, yeah. There's something just about being Italian that you learn very young, like how loyalty works and how like being in the family and like it's hard to get in, but once you're in, you're in. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I think I love that culture about my family. And I kind of run my business in a similar way that like all my clients typically know who each other are. And like some are friends, some don't know who each other are. And I purposely do that because I just don't think they'd get along. But
It's political that way too.
Yeah.
And I've learned that where there's certain folks where you're very out locally and regionally at different networking events and forums.
Yeah.
As am I. There's certain like things at least for me.
Yeah.
I shouldn't like post, and I don't
sure.
post at this point just because like I know this it's gonna piss this client off.
Well, sure. Yeah. And I think I just also don't know that it necessarily needs to come into business. Like, I don't think like I am a very strong Christian. I have my certain political beliefs and everything. And I just don't know that it's relevant. I don't really think that it's relevant. Like, I think
It doesn't need to be
Yeah.
with
Like,
your
I think your
business.
morals and beliefs and your compass is like really what's more important. But I think something important about my business though, that I would probably like want people to know is you should be very, and I know you said kudos to me about the bartering, but I think if you start really building like a good network of people, it is so much better for me to offer you a service and you offer me one back instead of sitting there trying to figure out like how to invoice each other. Like, I have people that
As long as the expectation's clear, it can work.
yeah,
Like, 'cause I've
and
been
you
on that
say,
side
hey,
of
if
the
ever
fence.
at any time it doesn't seem fair or it doesn't seem uncomfortable, it seems uncomfortable.
Let me
or
know,
whatever,
then we'll end it.
Let me know and we'll end it. And I have a lot of really good deals with people that I'm like, hey, I'll throw you work, you throw me work, or I'll help design this for you, or I'll give you a website, you give me this, and it's worked out honestly for the last 3 years very, very well. It's been the same people over and over and over again, so it must be working.
Yeah, I
but like
kudos to
doing
you
things
if it
for,
works.
doing things for quote unquote free, I think is for the opportunity of what could come, or because it's just the right thing to do. I think is a really,
It just makes more sense a relationship where they're not necessarily going to be a client, but they can
Yeah.
intro you to like other people that
Yeah.
you don't know.
well, and I think it's so much bigger, like going back to the Christian part, like I think it's so much bigger than just what I'm doing while I'm here for business. Like I'm thinking that's so much, that's like an eternal thing that I'm doing. Like if I can help this person, or I can do this, or like even if I'm even like it's not totally 50-50, right? Like maybe they're getting a little bit more than I'm getting out of the deal.
Okay.
Like whatever, right? Like it doesn't, they feel helped and I feel great about it. And I think like I'm doing things for eternal gains, not so much money in business.
For
and
me,
whatever.
like I live, it's not necessarily a Christian, but it could correlate from a philosophy standpoint where I exist to provide value.
Sure.
Like it's a communal thing.
Yeah.
If I provide value to my community, whether it be a local community or like my community as in my clients,
Sure. They'll take care
and
of you.
like my little tribe,
They'll take care of you.
it's gonna be a byproduct. I'm gonna get paid and or gain additional opportunities. It's not guaranteed, but it'll inevitably happen.
Yeah.
Point blank.
Yeah.
That's how I live my life.
Yeah.
Where
No, I think
you're
that's
not
good.
expecting something with every interaction that you have at that point.
Sure. No, I think things will just naturally come back. I think if you help somebody, it will just come back, and maybe a day later, a month later, or months later, or years later, maybe it never really comes back like directly throughout business. But I believe every good thing happens. And
I'll touch on an interesting point.
Yes.
Get your thoughts on it. Building in public.
building in public.
And what I mean by that is putting out there, hey, this is what we're doing. This is my thoughts. Like, KRAE's doing this. We have this team building session, or Schiffbauer consulting groups doing this. And a lot of people, at least I feel like old school mentality is like, don't tell people what you're doing. That should be a secret. You shouldn't you should hide that before like you're successful or taking this
Sure.
next stage.
Yeah.
I don't believe in that shit at all.
Like you believe, which one do you believe
The
in?
hiding, like
You don't
I don't believe
believe
in
in
the hiding
hiding? Okay.
aspect.
Yeah.
I think it's put it out there, build in public. I've had some, and this wasn't even intentional. I've lost count. Random people who I don't even know message me on Instagram, Twitter, or otherwise. They're like, hey man, I'm seeing what you're doing. Like I'm trying to do something like freelance.
Oh, cool.
Like you.
And they'll reach out. Yeah.
And I'm like, that's really cool. Like
Yeah.
the fact that like they saw what I was doing, regardless if I'm doing it right, wrong, or otherwise,
They're seeing that you're doing it.
building it in public.
Yeah.
Versus trying to hide it in this like,
Yeah.
I'm making all this money and I'm not gonna tell anybody what I do.
So I have two answers to how I would want to
no.
answer that, because there's different things. So one is I am not someone who needs public recognition at all. This is just who I am. I prefer being like the magician behind the curtain. That's just how I am. Like I had a client, we made him a website and he's like, hey, like I really love this website. Like, do you want me to post about it like on LinkedIn and say kudos to KRAE and whatever? And I was like, you can. And and I don't think there's wrong. I don't think either one is wrong. Just for me,
Your
I'm
personal that's okay.
my personal thing is, honestly, if someone likes your website, they're going to go ask the owner who made the website.
Correct.
So,
if,
like,
if,
why
if
do
the
you
intent
need-
is that serious, then yes,
Correct.
I agree.
That's what I mean. So like if the intent is that serious, sure. So and I've always been like that. I don't need like awards and trophies and whatever. I just need like a behind the scenes, Kristen, thank you for like putting so much into this. Like just a behind, like I don't need that. I need appreciation. I don't need recognition, I would say, as me. And I would prefer
Like I'm
to
the
fly-
best.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
need
man.
that. Which is ironic though, because I do run a social media company and I also
It's like, I tell people it's like
yeah.
it's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah,
Like,
so then part of it's like I do have to post about things and I do have to tell people what I'm doing and what I have going on and whatever. I think part of that probably comes from, I would say, people that aren't posting, is it comes from like insecurity. I would say like, hey, if I post about my clients, are people going to steal my clients? And you know, I could
that
I
is
could
definitely
see, I
like
could see
relevant.
that. Yeah, I could see that being relevant. But yeah, I don't think there's an issue really with either one, just for me, for myself. And I just have never been someone who needs like Kristen Pucci, and it almost makes me uncomfortable.
I take it more from the standpoint where if we're going to post or I'm going to post on behalf of Schiffbauer Consulting Group, it's more about a client win, the results they got,
Sure.
as we're just being a partner, just
Yeah.
a part or component of their success.
I have my other part I was thinking though.
Go ahead.
That was kind of what you said, how people reach out to you and they're like, hey dude, like I'm trying to do it. Like
This
just
is
had a girl-
awesome. I just saw this
had a
post you
girl-
put on, like, Instagram.
I love that. I love that on LinkedIn when people reach out and they're like, hey, you're doing something and it seems so amazing. And like, can you help me? Like that to me, I feel like is part of why I'm here on earth. Like I think that I am becoming the woman that I needed when I was younger. And I think
That's profound.
yes, which I think is wonderful. And I think how selfish of me if I am to just sit on whether it's
not give anything back.
Yeah, knowledge, or if I can save somebody from dealing with any frustration or some like heartbreak or anything that is somehow painful that they like, if I could have them skip from Kristen year 2 to year 10, you know what I mean? Like I'll help you skip that. Like
the curve.
Yeah, like let's
or have someone to talk
eliminate-
to that you may have not had like access to at a certain point in your journey.
like, and like if someone wants to reach out to me and they're like, hey, how do I do this? Or I don't know how to do that. Or like, that's amazing for someone to come to you and have such, just, they're not, that's not an egocentric type thing. Like they're coming to you with their hands open, just being like, hey, I need help. And like, can you help me? Like, who am I to go, sorry, I charge $150 an hour. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll help them. I'll just help them because to me, that is the right thing to do. Now, I obviously can't do that for everyone because I wouldn't have a business.
And 9 times out of 10, I would do the same thing.
Sure. But yeah, like I
Because
just
there are
think
takers in this world.
Absolutely. Majority are.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Majority
Not
are.
to be cynical.
Well, yeah, there's life givers and life takers. And I think there's a lot of both. But yeah, in business, there's a lot of suckers for sure. Like human ticks out there. Mm-hmm. But no, I think that, yeah, I don't know. That's what I think about business.
What's been the coolest project you've worked on to date?
Race stuff.
By far?
Race stuff by far.
So spitballing. Mm-hmm. I know that's not it's not a core service or a core offering, but where do you see yourself as like an agency owner or a consulting group owner like 5 years down the road? Is it more like KRAE's got another like 10, 20 employees and like we're just like powerhouse in the region? Or are you the lifestyle agency owner where like, hey, like we got a little book and then like I'm doing a couple clients, a couple projects a year like with like KRAE?
So it's so funny. People will ask like, cause I'm in CEO groups and stuff.
No answer's wrong.
I know. And like, I don't make 5-year plans. And I know that like most coaches and whatever, they're like, hey, where do you want to go? But if I went 5 years backwards, which would have been 2018.
Yeah. 2 years into your professional career.
Professional career. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I would never in a million years thought that I am where I'm at right now. So who am I to go in 5 years, because what if I'm limiting myself? Like, what if I'm limiting myself by saying, oh, I want to double the size of my company? What if in my plan, I'm supposed to be tripling the size of my company? You know what I mean? So, but where I would like to be is I want to be working less in the business and more on the business. And I kind of want to just expand this way instead of this way. So no, I don't want KRAE to turn into some massive agency. I think we would lose who we are at our core.
Yeah.
I like that we have a very small culture. I like that I can spend time with each individual employee, each individual
You seem
client.
very close to your employees too.
Well, yeah, like I have a meeting with every single one of my employees every single week for an hour. Like there's a lot of businesses that don't do that. And that's really important to me. Like I think having a personal connection and knowing that I'm bought into them and they're bought into me is important every single week. And if I have 30 employees, it's just time that becomes difficult. But I definitely will want to grow the entertainment side of the business. I love that. I think it would be very easy to scale. And I just think I get a lot from it. I get so excited when I'm like, hey, dude, like, you're not going to believe, like this restaurant reached out to us and it's like $100,000 art project, right? For like a couple things. And it's like her dream job.
To do like some kind of like mural, like custom fabric.
Yeah. And it's an architect that reached out to us and they said, hey, like we want Ray's stuff. We saw her laced out cars. Like we
That's
want her
awesome.
stuff. I know. And like, but that's her dream project. And we're only 2.5 years of working in with each other that I'm like, I
Where
feel
can we
so
go?
cool that I'm able to help you with that. And I know that there's so many people out there that just have all these talents and these skills and all these things that they can do. And it's like, you just need someone to help be your spokesperson. Like, and that's what I feel like I do is I just become people's spokesperson.
Essentially like amplify their voice.
Yeah. It's so much bigger than marketing to me. Like, I think I'm becoming your spokesperson. I'm becoming your cheerleader and I'm becoming your team mom, like in Ray's way, like we're sisters that, I'm just there supporting her and helping her. But
you're a cool team mom.
I'm a cool team mom. Yeah. I'm a cool mom. I'm a cool team mom.
I had to go there.
Yeah, you did. But no, I'd say her stuff is super cool. I love it. And I think I'll grow that side. I think I will. I'm excited for the time in my career that I can fully choose all my clients. Like you can
That's
really,
powerful.
Yeah, like you can fully choose. Like I would hope that, I know that there will always be stress in business, but I get to a place that I can really pick and choose like the really great quality people. I work with a lot of great quality people right now, and I feel like I'm really close to there already. And
You're right now. You feel like you have your like best like pie.
yeah,
In terms
exactly.
of like client
Exactly.
mix.
And I want to get to a place in my career that I don't feel like I have to keep a client or something, even though they're like treating me poorly, right? Like,
You got to go. I have an analogy. My dad had a bar
Yeah.
for like 23 years. He would say if someone was drunk and disorderly and causing issues in the bar, you tell them, get the fuck out.
yeah. And I'm getting better at that. And I
Not a literal get the fuck out, but get the fuck out because it's going to
yeah.
hit the morale of your team.
Yeah.
And it's going to ripple effect with
Well,
other client work.
it's probably gonna affect the whole brand of the bar. People are gonna think it's a bar that people can just get rowdy in. And
Nope, get them out.
yeah, I know. So I'm getting better at that. I definitely struggled with that in the beginning. I think part of that is going back to the female male dynamic a little bit because like I think I grew up with brothers and a dad and like I was closest with them. And I think part of you're just like you have to respect authority and respect men and whatever. But then like if they're being rude, you just eventually like no is no, So I'm definitely getting better, but I think it'll just be cool to see. I have no idea where we're going. I have a really great team. The girls are so loyal. Like it's very fun. Yeah.
What's the most important aspect of like building a culture to you?
I think letting your employees know that you love them.
That's big.
Yeah. And like I say, love them. Sorry for
That's why I said
the HR people out there
No,
that are probably
I said
like, you
that's
can't tell
big.
your employees that you love them. No, I think your employees, because I remember what it's like being an employee. I remember it.
There's
And
some
I
people who
worked
don't
for
give,
some
you
good
feel like
people.
you don't give a shit about you.
Yeah, and I worked for some really good people and I worked for some not really good people. And the best ones that I worked for, I knew without a shadow of doubt that they cared whether or not I was there tomorrow. And they cared whether or not I showed up and I was happy in work and out of work. Like it was my favorite boss I ever had. And I remember there was this day at work that we had to, I don't remember what the hell it was, but we got pretty vulnerable at work. And I ended up crying. I was like telling him about my family and my story and like things about my past. And I had to leave to go on vacation. And like I had to like, I don't remember what happened, but I just remember him pulling me aside after. And he's like, hey, I want you to take more time over vacation. I want you to go home. Like I want you to go home and spend time with your family. Because I lived here at the time. My family was still in New Hampshire. So it took me 8 hours to get home. So that's 2 full days of
drive.
And he's like, why don't you leave today? Why don't you go home? Why don't you go home today?
Yeah, take a day off tomorrow.
And I just remember, like, that was huge to me, right? Like, who cares if you get an extra freaking day off? Like, whatever. My employees, like, I even told them yesterday, I'm considering moving to, like, the 4-day work week thing. I'm reading a lot about it.
I know
find
other
it
agency
really
owners that do that.
Yeah, and I just think I like that concept. I really like that concept, and I just think if your employees know that you love them, they will love you back. If you treat them with respect, they'll treat you with respect. If you're honest with them, they're honest with you. If you treat them well, they'll treat you better. And I just think let them know that you love them, and they are, irreplaceable. And you care about them even outside work. Like they're more than just employees to you. Like you know about their boyfriends and their families and their dogs and their kids, and you actually pay attention and care.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need loyal people working for you.
Absolutely.
More than skilled. You need loyal and motivated and whatever. You could teach skill. You can have other people teach them skill. But
Well, anyway, you can plug and play people with skill.
Sure.
You want people to actually give a shit about you, and then in return,
I want people to love the
business.
business like it's their business.
No, it's where I'm very particular about that.
Yeah. I want them to love it like I love it, and I want them to be really passionate about the company and where it goes. And I know that I have a really good team right now, and I know that if tomorrow I was like, guys, I don't want to do this anymore. I think we should go sell dirty socks. They'd be like, hell yeah. Where do you want to sell dirty socks? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know that about them, and they would watch this laughing, but it's because we have it figured out.
They're going to hear you out.
They're
before,
like, let's go.
Acting on it.
You
like,
want to sell?
it.
You want to sell dirty socks? Let's fucking go. We're gonna sell dirty socks like nobody's ever sold dirty socks.
Stinky
like
cheese feet coming at you.
Exactly. Yeah, KRAE, stinky socks. But I just think like that's. But I worked to create that. That wasn't by default. I apologize. I have nasty days. Just like I just ripped them out on Friday. I felt horrible about it after, and I said, guys, I shouldn't have done that. I apologize. Whatever. Like I know bosses that never even apologize to me. They come in, they scream at you, and then they walk out.
That's
and
it. Like, there's no accountability.
You lose a little bit more of
there's
loyalty
no
and accountability
from a leadership standpoint.
Yeah, and I'm human just like everybody else, and I know that I have to manage my emotions more than anybody else at the company. But there's still going to be times when I'm going to be stressed, I'm going to be pissed, I'm going to be whatever, and I'm going to lose it. Yeah, we're human. So, yeah.
Well, that being said, you've built a great business. You're a big networker.
Thank you.
Networking tip for anyone out there.
I would say don't just go out and drink and fuck around. You need to be very strategic. Everything that I do is strategic. Like if I'm in a room, there's a reason I'm in that room. And time is money and money is time. And if you
Time's more important than money.
well, sure. And it's like, and I think where you spend your time, there's always energy exchanges that happen. Like if I'm in this room right now, you and I are exchanging energy. There's a reason why you walk in a room with somebody and it just feels uncomfortable. Like there's energy. There's something.
Either it's them or it's just the environment.
Correct.
In totality.
So networking, I think about that a lot. Like I'm not a part of a lot of major networking groups, and I don't just fuck around and go like drink with people just to drink with them and shoot out. Like I don't need more friends. I have really, really good friends.
I've actually said that quite frequently.
Like I don't need.
I'm okay.
I don't need more friends, and I don't need to just be seen out. Like when I'm networking, I'm being strategic about. I know that guy knows a lot of people, and I know that person knows a lot of person, and I follow him on here, and I see that he's a really good guy, and he seems like he knows a lot of really good people, and. You want to network with influential people that also know their people and they do business the way you do business.
Or want to do business,
exactly.
Rather, if you're coming up.
Correct. I need people that do business that I would say are very loyal. They see it as a partnership versus just, oh, we got to pay. What's this? Oh, a KRAE bill. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing, but, you know, and they cut the check. Like, I want them to be like, absolutely, we got to pay them quick because, like, we're partners. So I think that's just how I think about networking is being very strategic about my time, not just screwing around and drinking and, like, going out with whoever. I just don't need that. I don't need people climbing all over me drunk. Like I'm there to make money and I'm there to make other people money and
just have a little fun while doing
have a little fun
constructively.
Too. Yeah, have a little fun too. So I love networking. It's fun. I love meeting people. I love hearing people's stories.
But the story's a big thing. That's why I have this podcast in part. Mm-hmm. I mean, me at this point, if I go out, I'm usually already networking.
Sure.
Same strategic purposes.
Well, when you're a CEO, everything's business.
Yeah, and then if I'm
everywhere
out,
you go is business.
Let's say I go to like a meetup.
Sure.
If I go to the bar after the fact, that's just me wanting to be by myself. If I run into somebody, great. Otherwise,
isn't that great? Those are nice. You just go somewhere and you're like, I'm not doing any business at all.
And then otherwise, like you don't really catch me out anymore. Mm-hmm. It's just I'm okay with that. It's just how I roll.
Except for White Rose.
Well, Mondays are a staple, and people have asked me now. You eat your
steaks, right?
People have literally reach out to me like, can we network over a steak night? I'm like,
that's cute.
I'm there almost every Monday.
That's really cute.
I'm like, here's my calendar, and I literally sent a link for a Monday night.
Well, I've given you crap about that because it's literally a steak and French fries, and it's like, my God, Paul, eat a vegetable. Remember, I've sent you messages like that. I'm like, eat some freaking broccoli or something.
Potatoes, good enough.
I mean, yeah, sure.
I've done a lot of business over the steak nights.
Well, I just think that's great though. That like becomes your thing.
It's cool.
And it's local, and that's part of your brand, and you always go there all the time. I just think that's wonderful.
It works.
Yeah. It works perfect for you.
Say, any other final remarks? I know Marty's signaling for last call here. Philip?
Philip is...
Shout out to YCP real quick.
Shout out to YCP.
Yeah, that's where we
met. We should tell people how we met.
It was one of these, like, business classes.
Yeah.
I forget which
Paul
one.
was so weird.
Me?
You have, like, you're weird, but, like, not in, like, a bad way. Do you know?
I'm like a peculiar weird.
Exactly. Like, you're very unique. Like, if someone goes, oh, I've met Paul Schiffbauer, like, they know exactly who you are. Just because you're a very unique, quirky kind of dude. That's why, like, I knew exactly who you were. Uh-huh. And then it was so funny that you started your own company, and then, because you were a couple years before me, before I started something. You had
like about a year and a half.
Yeah, you had something else going on.
Like, I bought out of that.
Did you? Is that what happened?
I started college and then scaled into full time after that with it.
Got it.
Then my business partner bought me out.
Oh, that's nice.
It was fun.
Maybe.
I mean, he was a bear to deal with at the end.
Cool. They all are.
An artist, but he became a little bit more of a diva.
Yeah, well, people do that. People are divas. But yeah, I think it's cool. It's cool that we're connected this way now and we don't compete. Like, I think that's really fun.
Really don't.
Yeah.
I tell people it's really like, if anything, it's very indirect.
Yeah, I don't even really, like, I know what you do, but I don't know how to do it. And I don't want to know.
And I don't want to be
I don't like your data.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, I don't want your data. Like the
data's fun.
Oh my God, no. Math, absolutely not.
Those are my stinky socks.
Yeah. That's your stinky socks. No, I love it. But yeah, thank you. This was wonderful. Yeah, I don't know. Anything else? Any other questions? Any other burning questions for me?
Any burning questions?
Anything you've always wanted to know?
So,
what's my makeup routine? I'm kidding. Go ahead.
We'll save that for like the Patreon like after hours special. Kidding.
Yeah.
I better get an invite to this casino night thing.
Oh, you will. Out. Yeah. Oh, KRAE does a lot of really fun events. That's something else that we do.
Yeah, touch on that.
Yeah. So that's funny how that started, actually. It was COVID. Mm-hmm. Everybody was like itching to do something. And I'm like, this is dumb. We're gonna go out. Not saying COVID's dumb. It's just everybody wanted to do something.
We're gonna do something.
Let's go do something. And I looked at all the rules and I figured out like all of the whatevers that I was able to, how I was able to throw a party. And I threw a networking event Invite only. It was very like behind this. Again, I think it goes back to like my Italian roots. It was like invite only.
We're just gonna do it under
yeah,
the guise.
under the radar. Like I'm not gonna post anything about it until it's done.
Bring a box of ziti.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like I hooked up. I got some alcohol there, and then I got it was a guy. It was a local brewery. What's his name over there? Did it. And then I also got food, and I got whatever. And like 75 people showed up. It was amazing, and it was outside. We had a tent. And then it just began that I was like, wow, networking is cool. And being able to control the room was what a lot of my clients wanted, right? Like if they want me to bring them more sales,
Let's bring these people.
Well, I started creating strategic networking events. Like I controlled the entire room, and I would make sure that, like, for example, in construction, when I first started, it was like, it's not like there's 15 GCs here and one architect.
No.
It's like there's a couple architects, a couple engineers, a couple developers.
You guys are the head honchos based on you kind of like putting dollars behind
like
the
if
event.
I have a developer that I'm working with, they're going to hold the developer seat in the room, and I'm going to try to get other people in the room that I know
Relevant
that they're going to want
audience.
to do that they're going to want to do business with. And then I cap the event at 75 people. Nobody that just wants to come can come unless they want to talk to me about it. But it really became like I either know you from a connection or you're one of my clients.
Yeah.
And then it just went from there. And I honestly, like, it's so fun to see people just having fun. Business can be so stuffy, and it's so fun.
I can't stand like the stuffiness at times.
Yeah, and it's just so fun for people to be laughing together, or like two of your clients that you like love them so much separately, like they're dancing together on the dance floor,
Yeah,
and then they do business because their wives are friends now. Like, I just think that's so cute. So I love doing the events, and yeah, we do an event usually in the beginning of the year, and then we'll have like a massive event at the end that. Honestly, it's like throwing 2 weddings a year, honestly. They're very...
That's a lot. That's a hell of a way to describe it.
Yeah, I mean, it's expensive.
It makes sense why you don't want to get married.
I want to get married. I'm not doing a whole wedding. I know the price and everything. It's funny, though. It's actually funny you say that, because like now I feel like I've thrown so many events. When I actually do get married one day, like I'll know the...
Wait.
Like I'm not paying more than like $5,000 for a wedding. You know what I mean? Because you just figure out
You're going to be a ball buster when the time comes.
Oh, absolutely. I'll be like, I will make you a new website if you do all my florals for my wedding. They'd be like, okay, great.
Okay, let me think about it now.
Or like the concept of like, it's funny when you're younger, like as a girl, you're like, oh, I want to have, a $5,000 wedding dress. And now I'm like, girl, be for real. Like, let's get that on secondhand somewhere. And if I, you know what I mean? Like, it's funny how money works when you're a business owner.
You just think about it differently.
Think about it all differently.
Well, Kristen, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Same, Paul.
We'll do it again, maybe.
Part 2.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
I'll drop some links.